to putting it over onto YouTube. It's taking a second to load.
Yeah, it's okay. Meeting from Google, they send it directly to your email, the recorded meeting. I know that.
All right. So where's my recording? Word on this computer. All righty there. How are you doing, Andrea? How was your week?
My week was fantastic. Full of results, running, doing physical exercise. It was fantastic.
What would you say was a highlight of your week?
I like every week to be happy.
No, but a specific thing. Highlight.
Mm. For this week,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't think about it.
She just closed a really gigantic contract. I happen to know this.
I am, yeah.
So,
This I'm very
so
happy.
I
I'm very
know the
happy
highlight of her week already because she just closed a gigantic contract.
because we are on YouTube. We are going to make people jealous of our success.
Well, we don't have to give the details yet, but still,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
good.
it was fantastic. Okay,
How about you,
nice.
Jeremy? How was your week?
My week was interesting. We have to handing some results for
Mhm.
our clients, and our big boss asked about our web page, our company, and we didn't finish. And during this day, we had a lot of meeting to to define it, to
Mhm.
define to define some sprint to finish. And I hope the last the month we finish our web page, because we need a web page to sell our products to our clients. We don't have web
Mhm.
page. We start the opposite. We have a lot of products to sell, but we don't have a web page to show our products.
Wow.
And we have to contract a company to design the web page. But
Mhm.
the result is good. Preliminary results are good. The page is very fantastic.
Do you like Seminar web page? Have you seen
So,
our web page?
yeah. In the no, only Instagram, and but the web page I don't remember if
Yeah,
I
because it was my marketing agency who did that. If you want the contact, I can refer them to you.
the point is I don't decide anything. I Guilherme, you have to do that. Okay. No
I
You
problem.
have
are going
a
to
I
do.
have a question. Um, Ricardo Vargas in his last podcast, actually not this week, from last week, he said it's a lot easier to start projects than it is to finish them. Can you think of any reason why your project didn't finish on
Uh,
time?
um, the point, Cliff, is when I was contract, not how can I
When I was hired.
yes, when I was hired, um, the company, how can I say, I there was some employees, and my job is develop products, and I'm not responsible to this part. But later I ask, where is the web page? We don't have web page. Why? Because we are they were worried about to sell products without a web page. I don't know if a problem in Brazil. Uh, um, we when start something, normally we don't speak the all possibility we have. We want to get the we want to see the result, but uh we don't plan the pathway until the final result, and probably we will have a lot of problem until the result. For
Guilherme,
me,
but do you advertise on Google? Google needs to, if you don't have a website, you cannot advertise there. We are selling a lot on Google.
My company is a big company, and the company responsible to develop this website is the company, and my boss only ask to responsible. We need to web page.
Mhm.
It's complicated. It's complicated. The corporative environment is complicated. For
Yeah,
me,
no, I understand that.
for me is a challenge to work. But my position there is only develop products, and the other question is not my responsibility. I would like to tell something, but I prefer stay in my place, my desk, because I can receive. You are paid to develop products, not to give advice. It's complicated. It's complicated.
We lost a big part of the market because we didn't have a Google advertisement. And it takes a long time for Google understanding what you want to sell. And now it becomes more common for us, people coming after us through Google. But they go to Google, they look for, oh, I want English for professionals. Then Google delivers our site and people go there. It's a very good strategy, but when we don't have a website, we lose part of market, I think. But
Yeah, but
yeah.
So today is the first day of our current events series. And we're gonna be meeting probably every Wednesday night, most of the time on Wednesday nights, but at least we're gonna try to do once a week to take a moment to discuss the news in general from the past week or the past few weeks, right? But to give us a chance to practice talking about maybe some ideas that we don't normally talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So my first story for the week is Taylor Swift. What do you guys know about Taylor Swift, and what do you think about Taylor Swift?
I didn't know Taylor Swift. I hear about Taylor Swift. Unfortunately, the last situation in Rio de Janeiro.
In Rio de Janeiro, yeah, me too.
I think she's a pop star singer. I think that's it. It's a beautiful
Woman.
woman.
Well,
Yeah.
Taylor Swift it has a kind of an interesting story. Taylor Swift was born in a relatively wealthy family, right? So she came from a relatively wealthy family.
Relative? Sorry, could you repeat the last part?
She came from a relatively wealthy family.
Wealth,
know,
wealth.
Rich.
She was born with
Ah,
money,
okay.
right? And I think that that was very helpful to her because in 2023, she became a billionaire and she became the richest woman in entertainment. So she has kind of combined her ability with business and her fame and followers into a really big business machine, right? But the thing that Taylor Swift is in the news about now is that Taylor Swift told her followers, her fans, that they should register and vote in the election. Right? And her fans are young women mostly, some young men, but mostly young women. And so she said, hey, everybody, register, go out and vote. And then some politicians started telling her to shut up. Imagine. American politicians telling her to shut up because she told young people to vote in an election.
Yeah.
She didn't say who to vote for. She's not endorsing any politicians. She just said it's very important that you register. It's very important that you vote. And she has gotten a big backlash from some politicians in the United States. They say, oh, you're an entertainer. Stay out of politics.
Wow.
She says, I'm also an American and we have a right to vote. So, me telling people to vote is part of my responsibility. Right?
In United States, Cliff, there is a minimal age to vote. Minimal is
You
correct.
have to be 18.
18. Okay.
You have to be 18. But Taylor Swift has a lot of 18-year-old fans. She has younger fans, but now Taylor has gotten older. So those fans that have been following her since they were children, now they can vote. Right? And I think that the older politicians are afraid what these young people will vote for.
But what was all politicians had this?
No, not all politicians. It's one group of right-wing politicians. Most politicians said nothing. A few of the younger politicians were like, right on, Taylor. get young people to vote, right? But most politicians said nothing. But this one group of right-wing politicians, in general, kind of the Trump follower politicians, they don't want young people to vote. Apparently, Trump doesn't look good with young people. So they would prefer if fewer young people voted. Thought that was interesting. I respect Taylor Swift a lot. I'm not a fan of her music. But as we're all kind of older, I would challenge you guys to put on one of her more recent shows and listen to it. And you're probably going to think, this is not bad. You know, I think that because we're older, we probably think, oh, it's going to be like Menudo. It's going to be garbage, you know. But she's quite talented. She can really dance well. She can sing well. In her shows, there's great sets, great dancers, a good orchestra. So it's actually kind of interesting to watch. You know, I'm not her audience, like her chosen audience, but her music's not bad. It's like you can't complain about that. You can't say, "Oh, her music sucks." That's just not a fact.
I will listen to try.
Put on a couple songs, you know. I'm not saying it's the greatest thing in the world. It's pop music. So it's not necessarily the greatest thing in the world, but you can listen to it. You can dance to it. Right? That's the most important thing for party music. Can anybody else think of a politically influential entertainer?
Can anybody influence the
An influential entertainer.
can you repeat?
An influential entertainer.
Okay, but the question is,
Can you think of an influential entertainer?
yeah,
Anyone or only politics? Politics.
Or someone who has an influence beyond entertainment.
I think mm, I yeah, I think it's possible. Uh, uh, I don't know. I confused about the question. If
Well,
someone,
for example, David Beckham is a UN cultural ambassador. So he's involved in human rights projects around the world on behalf of the United Nations. And some of his projects are quite important, you know, like water for sub-Saharan Africa. There, you know, some of the projects that he's involved in are really important projects, you know. And he's like a football player that turned that into being influential. Bono from U2, he's another one of these guys. He's become right now he's not so popular because of the world politics, but he's a peace activist, you know. So beyond being a famous musician, he is a peace activist, and he's an activist for the poor.
It's like Daniel here in Brazil, the singer. He has projects to develop teenagers and children in music, and it's a social movement that he helps people from class B and C to achieve other levels in the society. Have you seen his children playing, Guilherme? We saw them playing in Aparecida.
Um, I went to Aparecida, but I didn't see Daniel playing there.
We saw last year. It was very nice.
I saw only the, how can I say, estatua.
Statue.
Yeah, statue there. There is a big statue there. In
Which
Aparecida.
statue? You went there to the hills?
No, in
To
Aparecida.
Santo Cruzeiro? No, but in Aparecida there is Santo Cruzeiro that you go. Cliff didn't do this walk, but it's a walk you do. You achieve a peak where there is a big image of the saint.
Mm.
Yeah, I haven't done that.
Yeah, but we can do that, but it's good to go in the morning because it's a very long walk. They have the 12 steps of Rosa Crucis,
Hmm.
Via Sacra. Well, how is Via Sacra in English? I don't remember.
I have to admit that I don't know. Google that.
Yeah, I will see.
Michelle, are you with us?
Sacred Way. Sacred Way, I think.
I think it has a specific name.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
because-
just Sacred
because
Way.
they
I think it has a
have-
specific name. We have to ask Adriano.
Yeah, because you go walking, and then each station of Via Sacra, you have a station until the end of the way. I thought
So
you
my
went to
my
the-
second topic for today is about AI. This year, we've had some very strange news in the AI business because we saw the chairman of OpenAI, Sam Altman, got fired. He spent less than 24 hours fired, and then he got rehired, and he got a new board. So like the board removed him, and then he was brought back and the board left. Right? And we don't know too much about why that happened. I've watched 2 different podcasts that talk about it. And even people who are relatively inside what was happening at OpenAI don't really have a good explanation for what happened. Because getting rid of Sam Altman was not a popular opinion. The board kind of used a special kind of maneuver to remove him. It wasn't popular with the investors, and it wasn't popular with the employees. You know? And right now, OpenAI is the most famous artificial intelligence company.
But the
May-
Google launched this month, I don't remember, the Gemini is a new AI to compete with OpenAI. So it's a new AI from Google, Gemini. There is Bard, Bard, Bard,
Yeah.
but there is a
Bard.
new, the Gemini is new.
Yeah, there's a new one on Windows now too, that
Yes,
sometimes it kind of takes over what you're doing.
but I bought a new computer, a lap, and came with the new AI, the Microsoft AI, but I didn't like. At the moment I prefer to use OpenAI.
I saw a Brazilian YouTuber today that was talking about, his thing was people have problems with AI because they don't know how to interact with it. He said it's important to learn to interact with it, you know. It's not intuitive. But if we go back, if you guys think back to the beginning of the 2000s, the end of the 1990s, when the internet was new, the search was terrible. We had Hasta la Vista, right? And the search was just not good. Then Yahoo came up, and Yahoo seemed a lot better, but still, you needed to know how to talk to the search engine. It wasn't intuitive. Then in more recent years, Google got to the point that it's fairly intuitive. Before AI, before Bard, you could type a question in Google and get a good answer.
Do you know the Boston Dynamics, a company in the United States?
Yes.
It's fantastic. This month I was watching the video, the evolution, the like humanoid. How can I say?
Humanoid, yeah.
The AI is fantastic. Wow, I'm impressive, but at the same time I'm scared. The direction the AI is taking.
I'm not very technological. I always say people, I'm not a tech person. And it was funny because I was talking to a consultant, and I told her that we were competing with some platforms in the state, not the station, in the how can I forgot the word. In the project we were doing, we are competing with some platforms. And she told me, oh, but you need to have a platform. I told her, I don't want to work with platforms now. Now, no. Our Samuel is not a platform company. Now I prefer to work with a kind of a human feeling about having contact with people. I don't want to do that unless it's material only for our students to go there, to click and to access, not a platform course. And then it was funny because we won the competition against the platforms. I'm very happy. I'm not very technical.
I think that we are going to see a little differentiation in some services. I think you're going to see the equivalent of organic in services. Like, how organic food doesn't have fertilizer, it doesn't have GMO, it doesn't have agrotoxics, I think that we're going to see in services a kind of division where some businesses are going to be like, we're organic. We don't use AI for stuff, at least not front end stuff. Not that there's no AI in the background, but businesses are going to say, when you talk to us, you're talking to a person,
Mhm.
you know.
And it's a good
You call our
marketing too.
you call our call center, it's a human being. It's not an AI, you know. And so I think that there's going to be a differentiation in the market now that's going to kind of push back against the AI is better for everything. Because we've already seen as far as the technology is today, artificial intelligence cannot drive a car by itself. They've invested $100 billion in that over 10 years. And that's not an exaggeration. I got that number this week. $100 billion investment over a 10-year period. And cars cannot drive themselves, right? They just don't understand traffic. A car can drive itself from the point of view of not hitting an obstacle, but a car can't drive itself considering its relationship with all of the other things in the road. And in both of the cities in the United States that they temporarily allowed the experiment to take place, because, there were 2 American cities that had AI taxis. And both of the cities have shut down the services. The services cause a lot of problems. They create traffic where you're not supposed to have traffic. They cut access to emergency services,
But Cliff, at the moment, I saw, I agree with you. The car is we have problem to drive south. It's correct. Drive south.
Itself.
Self-driving.
Self car. But I don't know. In the future, I don't know, 20 years or 30 years, this will be possible, because I think that the all cars they are connected and avoid this collision. I don't know.
I understand that proposal, Guillermo, but the issue is the standardization of technology. And the car companies that are developing self-driving now are developing proprietary technology. Toyota's self-driving is different from General Motors. General Motors self-driving is different from Tesla, So the government would have to step in, and they've done this in the past. If you think, like, every AA battery is exactly the same, right? Why is that? It's because the government stepped in and said batteries have to be the same. Our banking system, I can send a Pix from my Santander to your Banco do Brasil. Why is that? It's because the government stepped in and said you have to standardize. So you would have to have a powerful force. You'd have to basically have the government come in from the top and say, you guys need to standardize this so that the cars can interact together. That could happen, but for it to happen, the government has to work. And I mean that in both ways. Like, they have to work like trabalhar, and they have to work like funcionar. Because right now, the government doesn't want to do either, right? You look at the American government in 2023, the American government passed 23 laws. In a whole year, the federal government passed 23 laws. 10 years ago, they passed 1,000 laws every year. You know? So we need to get that government to decide, okay, let's get together and agree about self-driving cars. You know, that's a kind of a hard, it's a hard sell right now.
Expensive.
Unless something happens like Sony and Philips with the DVD. Because, you know, Sony and Philips had two different DVDs. And then literally the presidents of their companies got together and said, let's make just one DVD standard. Let's make one standard for everybody. And then they did, you know. So maybe if Elon Musk and the guys from the other self-driving car companies get together, like, hey guys, let's standardize it, then maybe that could happen. But I think it's probably a long-term project. I think what you're going to see is things like, I don't have a Mercedes-Benz, but supposedly Mercedes-Benz has brake assisting. So if Mercedes-Benz realizes that you're going to hit something, it puts on the brakes of your car. Like Mercedes-Benz doesn't want you to get into the accident. So the AI in the car will help you to avoid the accident. You know, I think that kind of AI in cars will probably get better and better and better over time. Or what I expect is for that to happen. And as far as AI in our jobs, like you're talking about developing a website, Guilherme, there are companies now that say that there's an AI that can develop your website for you.
Nice.
Any comments or predictions?
No, it's okay.
I don't think this topic is going away. I'm sure it's going to come up every week somehow, right? But let's move on. How many days a week do you work?
Uh, it's a good question.
24/7.
Today, only 5 days. Sunday up to Friday only. Some years ago, I worked every day. I was productive. I think no, because when you finish a task, other tasks appear, and you enter in a cycle, in a loop.
Before the pandemic, an American billionaire named Bill Price decided to do an experiment in his company that he cut the work week down to 4 days. And in the United States, the work week had been 5 days, 40 hours, right? He cut the work week down to 4 days, 32 hours, right? And he said that it made his employees more productive and therefore more profitable for him. So his company established that policy, just 4 days of work, right? he also had some very interesting observations after the pandemic. At the end of the pandemic, he said, if you don't want to come back to the office, you don't have to. He said, everybody that wants to stay home can. If you want to come back to the office, come back. If you want to stay home, stay home. Whatever you're happiest. Because he said that what they noticed in the pandemic was his team got more productive. So if the team was more productive working from home, why make them come back to the office? You know? But so he had this concept of a 32-hour work week. And then this week in the news, the Dominican Republic is now implementing a 32-hour work week. Right? The Dominican Republic is like a successful example of a Caribbean country. A lot of Caribbean countries have terrible economies, but the Dominican Republic has a good economy, right? And they are this week introducing the 4-day work week, 4 days, 32 hours. Right? Before that, Switzerland, no, I'm sorry, before that, Sweden introduced the 30-hour work week, but it's not 4 days. It's 5 days with 6 hours of work. Right? So it's in Sweden, it's less hours, but more days. In Dominican Republic, more hours, but fewer days. Right? Do you think you can get all your work done in 4 days, Guilherme?
So
I think the focus focus is a is a problem because in my case I can I have focus for I don't like to talk to other people. I like I have my desk, my place to work, and of course some days I work a lot. I can generate a lot of results, but other days for me it's complicated to maintain to the same productivity. Some days I am okay, the other day I'm not how can I say
You're not as motivated.
yes, I'm not motivated.
it's kind of energy. There are days we are
Yes,
very energetic. There are other days we are not. And I think 4 days in a week for me doesn't work. Of course, I do my best to have to do other things too. That is not only working during my day. I organize in a way I can do something with Pedro or with Cliff and doing something on the weekend, but tell me, oh, you will work only 4 days. It's not for me.
If they
And I
told
believe
if they told Andrea she could work 30 hours a week, she'd finish the work week on Wednesday.
Yeah, but
Andrea works all the time.
Yeah, but if you think about these days, you work 8 hours for 4 days, 5 days, okay? And if you see in the companies, only people from production work like this because they need to be there at that time, because if they don't do that, they are going to have a problem. The company is going to have a problem later when they are fired. Because if you ask an executive, if you ask a doctor, if you ask anybody who works inside a factory or any kind of executive, they don't work only this. Maybe they register only this because the factory, the company demands that, but they don't work like only this. To say, oh, you work only 40 hours a week, it's not true. Even if they register that, because they register because of loss, not
But I
because.
think that the jobs that they must be talking about, and I don't know all the details. I think the jobs they are talking about are jobs like, we're just about to wrap up, okay? They're jobs like McDonald's workers. I don't think that I think it's minimum wage jobs. I don't think that they want you and me to work,
Yeah.
30 hours a week. I think that they want the people who make minimum wage to work 30 hours a week.
That's the situation. There is a book called Virando a Própria Mesa. It is from Ricardo Seller. I think it's Ricardo Seller, the name of the guy. And he said he did a very flexible working times inside his company that is it's a factory. I don't believe that. I read his book. I think it's a beautiful, a fantastic project, very flexible. If you prefer to work on Sunday and have free time on Monday, it's okay for him, but it doesn't work for operational services. It's not for, even if the person receives more than minimum wage, if they work in operational areas, they need to have set up a schedule, a time for entering and leaving the company. There is no way, because they need to deliver products. Our
Yeah,
operation.
imagine an assembly line. I mean, let's think of AGC. The AGC construction glass division cannot stop. It
Oh, they
has to
need
produce,
to.
it
Yeah.
has to produce 24 hours a day.
Mhm.
It's just not, they cannot stop it. So that's a situation where they need employees 24 hours a day. There's no
Yeah.
way to do it any
The
other
same
way.
for
Because
the same.
if they turn it off, it's so expensive to turn back on. You just can't turn it off.
It's the same for chemical companies, explosive companies, because these kind of companies are very dangerous. In spite of they have a very good safety team, they need to work all the time, because their machines, they cannot turn off. And then people from operational areas, especially factories, they need to work. There's to work in a fixed schedule. Now I don't see, it's my point of view, I don't see how can an assembly line works without, how can an assembly line work without a fixed schedule? There is no way, in my opinion. Of course, I don't know if there are some projects for doing it in a different way, but I don't believe that.
All right, guys, that's it for today. We'll be back next week, 10 after 9, and we'll come with another 3 or 4 news stories to discuss. If you have a news story you'd like to suggest, please send it to us, because we would like to have people taking part in the discussion. So,
Yeah, I'm going to talk to people. I needed to talk to a lot of people today to come in, but next week we are going to have much more people to talk about these issues, because they are very interesting. So we are Seminole. Vem crescer com a gente, come.
right.